Peace. Welcome to Holistic Intuition, where we collectively explore health, raised consciousness, and overall holistic experiences such as self-love, cultural privilege, confidence, sex, friendships, oppressive systems, and much, much more, while encouraging you to be your best guide in this human experience through helping each other connect more deeply with ourselves.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Holistic Intuition. My name is Jessie. If you are new, I am just so full today. You guys will obviously be seeing this way later, but today is the day that I announced publicly, that I created and I'm launching this podcast. And I just want to thank everyone for the kind words and the well wishes. I am just so excited and grateful to be on this journey with you all. No matter when you see this video, tomorrow for me, I'm going to be launching the first episode. And I've just come to a place where, although I genuinely love and appreciate all the positivity that I receive, I'm in a place now where regardless if the feedback is positive or perceived as negative or whatever, I can honestly say that I don't give a fuck. And that's what I wish for everyone. We put a lot of focus into what other people are going to think of our gifts, and it doesn't matter. I'm in a place now where I feel very comfortable expressing myself fully, and I want everyone to feel that way. And when you start comparing and comparing. Comparison is the thief of joy. And when we start doing that, it takes away from our essence. So yeah, I'm just so excited to just be on this journey with you guys. And today we have a very exciting episode because we have really been conditioned to think about love in terms of romance, or in terms of our romantic partner or sexual partner or things of that nature. And we don't talk a lot about how love is also reserved for friendships and how important friendships are, and how to build a friendship and just all the things that go along with that. So this is what today's episode is going to be on, is friendship. And I would say it's like an intro because, there's so many different aspects of friendship. There's sisterhood, there's brotherhood, there's, I don't know what you would call it if it's a man and a womanhood, but you know what I'm talking about? So it's like all these different layers, and then you have all the other layers of conditioning that make up certain people, and that will affect the friendship, so not understanding how someone was raised or how their race is involved with how they maneuver through life is not going to be cohesive for an innerstanding friendship, So we're just going to talk about some intro topics today on friendship, and I have 3 pages of notes because I really wanted to be super specific because, like I said, I could just ramble about a lot of things, and I want to make sure I'm staying on topic with this specific podcast. So if I keep looking down, that's why. Like I said before, certain podcasts are going to be more just from spirit and I'm just going to let it flow, and then other times are going to be a little more organized, and today's going to be a little more organized, hopefully. So let's start with the basics. What is friendship? When we don't define something, when we don't put a name to it, we can't fully understand what it means to us individually. Everyone desires different things from a friendship, so we first need to label it. So when I was taking different psychology classes, they talked a lot about proximity, which is closeness. So now it's different because we have social media, but up until more recently, and still for the most part how it is now, is you're going to become friends with people that live close to you. Maybe you go to school together, maybe you live close to each other. It's going to be hard to find someone across the world to connect with if you don't get to see them very often. So proximity is one that they would talk about. and similarities, like commonalities, which is an obvious one. When I learned about it, like in school, it's just so basic. It's like proximity, commonality, and then I think there's one other one. And it's just like, there's so much more that makes up a friendship. And that's probably why so many people are unsatisfied in their friendships, because they're not thinking about what makes up a friend. So for me, and I think for most of us, what makes up a friend, that foundation of a friendship, is respect, meaningful communication, vulnerability, commonality, of course, love, support, pushing each other to be your best selves. And what I have underlined is really a deep innerstanding, because you can have all of those things with someone that you wouldn't call a friend, right? You can have meaningful conversation, you can have support, you can have encouragement. But if you don't really understand that person, then how can you call them a friend? It's like we kind of throw out the word friend very easily. And I'm not one to use that word for anyone. I'll call you my acquaintance. That's what you are. Like, look at the definitions. Let's look at the definitions of these words and what they mean to us. Unless I feel that deep inner connection, at least if I can't share certain parts of myself, then I shouldn't be calling you a friend. And I'll get to why later on. So one thing we have to explore, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Okay, I totally forgot, everybody, but we have a little ritual here where at the beginning of the podcast, we set an intention. I completely forgot, so we're gonna do it now. So the reason why we set intentions is like anything else. If you set a plan for something, you can better evaluate after that event or experience or whatever if that really fulfilled you and if you got what you needed or what you were desiring from that. So for me, like when I set my intentions for these podcasts, it's different things every week. It could be, I want to openly express myself without inhibition, or I want to exude confidence, or I want to make people feel loved through the screen. Whatever my intention is, I think it's important to set it, and I think it's important for you. Maybe it's time to engage in active listening. Maybe it's time to evaluate friendships. Whatever it is, let's just take a moment as I light this to think about your intention for this podcast as you sit here for however long this is going to be. Okay. Sorry about that. I got so excited to get going that I forgot to set my intention. Okay, so let's get back into it. So we have to look at what do we personally desire from a friendship, because everyone has different desires. So exploring people for future relationships is like dating to me. It's a trial and error process. Most of us, or I hope, are not jumping into romantic relationships without fully understanding that person. It takes time, it takes comfortability, it takes trust, it takes communication, it takes learning all the different layers of what makes that person them. And I don't think we do that enough with friendships. It's like you hear people just hang out, and it's like all of a sudden they're just friends. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with this person and smoke, and then all of a sudden you're friends. Like, what, bro? It takes time, you can't rush it. This is not a rushed process, and why would you want to rush it, So you're not trying to find someone that's mediocre, you're not just trying to hang out. You're trying to find someone that fits you and your individual needs and your values and everything that goes along with you. So I also think it's important to set intentions with friends. You can have different people in your life for different parts of you. Now, do I think that you should completely compartmentalize your friends? Definitely not. Like, oh, this is just the friend that I work out with, and this is just the friend, no. But you have different friends that have different personalities, you know? And I think it's important to set intentions behind what you're looking for with each person. So, as I just said with the incense, you know, why is setting intentions important? It's the same reason for any facet of life. You know, I believe in being free-flowing, and I believe in divine timing, which is not, because time is an illusion. Okay, let's just say that, number one. Time is an illusion. And when you don't allow the universe to do her thing, you start to have tension because you're trying to control, right? So you are always co-creating with the universe, whether you are choosing it or you're doing it without any intention. So I do believe in flowing. I believe that life is like water. It's shapeless. It doesn't fit a certain box. You know, it's constantly shifting, and we need to shift with it, or we're going to feel that tension. But I just lost my track. Give me a second. Oh, that was my point. So yeah, I do believe in free flowing, but I do also think that you need to set guidelines. And those guidelines are for you and the divine that is within you to adhere to those guidelines. You know, like I can't just go into the world and say, I just want friends. The universe didn't have any guidance from me. She wants to know, well, what kind of friend do you want? What are you looking for? You know, so it's like life is this beautiful balance. It's not one or the other. It's not black or white. It's that balance between free-flowing energy and setting guidelines so that you get what you desire, you know? I have like this analogy down here, which is like, you know, imagine you're a little kid, right? And you don't know what a circle is yet. You don't know your shapes. How do you know that you want a circle? Or that you'll even feel fulfilled from a circle if you can't describe a circle or visualize a circle? You know what I'm saying? So you have to paint that picture for yourself and for the universe to beautifully come together and bring you what you desire, you know? So that way when you set clear intentions, you can feel much easier if that person that you are bringing into your experience is someone that is making you really fulfilled, or if you're kind of hanging on to something that you know needs to be released, okay? So many people are entertaining friend-like situationships, okay? And they leave us feeling dissatisfied or lonely or sad or upset or whatever it may be. And it's not that person's fault. You know, it's us that we're not taking the time to really examine the situation and how we feel, because our body is constantly communicating with us. It will let you know after or during an interaction how you feel. And whether it's that little thing or it's a big communication signal, it's there. It's up to you if you want to honor your spirit by listening to it. So something that I think is really important and not talked about enough is, you know, we talk a lot about in society like resolving conflict through couples. You know, there's couples therapy and there's shows about it, and there's, you know, people talk about it all the time, marriage problems and how to fix this and how to do that. But how often are we taught, or are we even told about how to resolve friendship conflicts? You know, it's something that's really not talked about, and a lot of times we either suppress how we feel or we just avoid that person or whatever it is. And I think everything is situational. So in my experience, I've had to discern between who I think needs an explanation for me moving on and who wasn't giving me that reciprocation back anyway, so I didn't need to come back and go to them again, if that makes sense, you know? So resolving conflict is also learning what no longer serves you, okay? So sometimes it's just that. It's like, oh, we had an argument or a disagreement and we need to resolve it. And sometimes it's knowing when the right time to move on is. You know, we are constantly changing. We should be constantly changing. And if people aren't changing with us, then that relationship is going to feel different. It might feel distant. It just might not feel how it used to feel for you. And you have to discern when it's time to release what no longer is feeding you, so that the universe can bring in what you do want. So let's go back to resolving conflict though. It's very natural and normal to have conflict. Very normal. We all have very unique, specific experiences that make us who we are. And someone might say something that maybe they didn't have the intention of hurting your feelings, but because you went through XYZ, it did. You know, everyone is different. So it's not like we are never just like, this is how it is because this is how I am. No. Everyone has their own reality. You know, there is no one reality. We constantly are shifting realities, we're changing, and everyone has different experiences which create their realities. So it's normal to have these conflicts. And the only healthy way to move past is through. And that through is direct communication. You cannot be passive aggressive. You can't go around the shit. Say how you feel. Say it with confidence. And that's that. Express your feelings. Express your thoughts. Okay? You deserve that. You deserve it. It will also deepen your understanding of each other. As you communicate with people, you learn more about them. And it may be a positive or a negative. You know, you may try to resolve something, and the way that someone comes at you is like, whoa, I was not expecting that shit. I'm not putting up with that. Or it may be, wow, you know, the way that person listened to me and the way that they took in what I said, whether they agreed or not, really made me feel cared for. And that's an important thing too. So really all of this is a positive. Whether it shows you how the person is and you didn't like it, or you did like it. Both are a positive because it's teaching you something. Don't allow their possible rebuttal to stop you from what you know you need to say. Okay? So how do you do this? How do you resolve conflict? How do you discern between, is this friendship fulfilling or not? You know? So let's postpone the how to deal with conflict and how to end a friendship for a little bit later. Right now, let's just talk about some questions that I came up with that you could ask yourself that help you figure out if this friendship is something that you want to maintain. You know, because all relationships need love poured into them. And if you're not pouring in love, then you might as well leave it alone. It's just a waste of energy, literally. Okay? So, number one, how do you feel during and after your interactions? I know when I'm around my people how full I feel when I'm with them. And after, even though I would say, you know, like, I don't put a lot of emphasis in different identities as much as I used to, but I would say definitely I'm more on the introverted side. So a lot of times in the past, I would leave in an interaction and I still might have enjoyed it, you know, but it just left me feeling very drained, you know, like I need alone time. And when I'm around my people, I don't feel like that. I feel full. I feel loved. I feel cared for. I feel like they're being attentive. You know, I feel like my voice matters. I feel listened to. Those are all things that we need. This is not, that is like the baseline, okay? If you're not getting those basic needs met in your friendship, you need to move on. Either say how you feel and see if it changes, or leave that alone. So that's the baseline that everyone needs to feel. And then on top of it, I have all of these similarities with my people. And so we can connect on all these things that make me feel full. So for example, like music is just everything to my spirit. Like I have loved music my whole life just for what it is, just the feel of it, just the sounds, all the creativity, the lyrics, the beats, just the emotion behind it. Music just does something to me that is different than anything else. So when I can connect with my people on music, it's like I'm sharing love with people that I love. It's like just love is pouring out of me and pouring back into me. You know, that's a beautiful thing. So that kind of goes to my next question is like, do you feel aligned with this person? So that can mean values, it can mean, you know, your interests, and it can also mean energetically. So as I mentioned before, like I would definitely consider myself more on the introverted spectrum if I had to choose. And I have always been fully attracted to people that displayed a certain energy. And that energy is calmness. I am not attracted to the person that's the loudest in the room. I am the person that, for the most part, you know, sometimes I'm more sociable, and it really depends. That's why I'm saying it's so situational. That's why I don't like to say I'm just this or I'm just that. But for the most part, I'm the person that comes into the room that is more quiet, that's observing, that I'm taking everything in, I'm feeling the energy, I'm seeing how people are moving, and those are the people that I'm attracted to. So, you know, like, for example, like when I was in college, or even in high school, but let's just say college, the way that a lot of sorority girls acted was the complete opposite of what I desired. That like loud, like, oh my God, I haven't seen you forever. Like, bitch, relax. Relax. Take a deep breath. Why are you yelling? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's no shade on anybody. If you're that person, be that person. Be what's the word I'm looking for? Expressive like that. Be however you are. I'm just sharing that that's not what I'm attracted to. That energy drains me like crazy. So I know that when I go out and I'm, you know, trying to connect with people, I know what kind of energy that I want to align myself with. Because long term, we always connect more with people that are more similar to us. The saying that opposites attract usually is on a short-term basis. You know, it excites us. Oh, it's different. And I've been through that. Oh, they're different. God damn, it's hot as shit in here. They're different. Wow, like it excites you. It's new. It's exciting. It's different. It's unique. But over time, it's just like, yeah, this isn't gonna work. You know, like this isn't my people. This is not my people. You know. And that my last question is, are you both present? Presence means very different things to different people. But something for me is like, I don't enjoy being on my phone a lot. You know, I'm on social media because of this and because of my other projects, and I'm on social media to learn, but like for the most part, I don't really like to be on my phone. I'd rather be doing other things with my time. So if I hang out with someone and they're on their phone a lot, it's definitely a turnoff to me, because you're not giving me that presence that I need. Eye contact is important. It shows confidence and it shows presence. So for me, I like someone that gives me eye contact. I want someone that is an active listener as much as they are able to communicate through talking. I would say like those three things are pretty important to me, like phone, eye contact, active listening, but whatever it means to you. And you have to evaluate you. Am I being present in my interaction with my friendships? Do they feel cared for? Do they feel seen? You know, it's not just like we're just looking at the friend. A friend and a partner and all these intimate relationships are some of the biggest reflections of self. you know? So that's one reason why I just don't call anyone my friend, because they are a reflection of me. So I will call you an acquaintance for however long I need to until I am positive that you are a friend, okay? So let's say you go through these questions and your own knowing, because knowing is a feeling, and you know that this relationship is just not serving you anymore, or it's not serving you in the way that you need. And you decide, okay, this is time to end the friendship because I need to release and make room for what I am looking for. And, at the end of the day, if you know that this friendship is not doing it for you, then you're most likely pretending. And when you're pretending, you're shrinking yourself. You are not fully expressing your inner thoughts. You are not fully being vulnerable. You are not sharing your heart. We do not deserve to shrink for anybody. We deserve to have people around us where we can confidently be us. Okay? So, ending the friendship, it's probably going to be a little difficult. It might be uncomfortable. But every time you honor yourself by speaking up, it becomes easier. Okay? Let me just repeat that. Every time you honor yourself by speaking up, it becomes easier. And I can confidently say that from experience. Okay? And let me just give you like a little example. For the most part, I am a very, I just hate surface level shit, to be honest. I hate surface level things. And because of that, because of the way I am intimately, because of all the things that make me me, I have, ever since I was in high school, I always gravitated toward being in a long-term relationship. So when that time came, when I started exploring things that weren't a committed relationship, I had to cultivate that confidence in myself to say how I felt. Because if I'm talking to someone and I'm learning about them, and then I figure out oh, damn, well, I learned about them and I'm not really fucking with them like that, I need to say it. If we're hanging out or if we're talking, on a consistent basis, then I need to say how I feel. So it was very uncomfortable at first. It was uncomfortable. My heart would be racing, my palms are sweaty, I'm just thinking all these thoughts are coming in my head like motherfucking confetti. Bitch, relax, okay? It's not the end of the world. It just feels very anxiety provoking because it's new. That's really it. You just haven't practiced it yet. It's like any skill. If you don't practice it, it's going to be hard the first time. That's normal, And once I practiced it and I took certain steps beforehand, it made the world of difference. And now I have no problem saying how I feel. Now, does it hurt me to hurt someone's feelings? Yes, it does. I'm not going to pretend and be some people want to be oh, I don't give a fuck, they're not doing anything for me, I don't give a fuck, I can just say it and then I'm gonna leave and I'm a dip. No, that's not me, okay? I don't like to hurt people's feelings. I don't like to see people sad. It hurts me, but I'm not gonna shrink myself just so that you're not sad. You know what I'm saying? So one little tip that I would recommend that helped me is, before I would have that conversation with that person, I would first of all calm your body. So do some deep breathing. Deep breathing is just such a powerful tool. It will relax your nervous system, everything. It will just take a few deep breaths in, really deep. Inhale from your stomach and exhale. And that's one thing that helped me. But one thing that really helped me was writing. So I would write down 2 or 3 sentences about what I wanted to say to this person. Because sometimes when we get nervous, we act in ways that we wouldn't normally. You might ramble, or you might say something that you didn't mean to say, and then the person's like, well, what? You just said that. What do you mean? And then you're like, and then you're backtracking, and then it's a mess. You know, we want it to just be as smooth as possible. You already know that this person's probably going to be hurt by what you're saying. So you just want to make it smooth as possible, as loving as possible. And that's the root of all of this. Okay, so as I was saying, you know, writing and getting those certain thoughts out can just be so helpful. And you can even practice saying it, you know, maybe go in the mirror or just practice saying it out loud so that it feels comfortable to say, you know. And yeah, I just think, you know, writing for me is just so special, but you might not be a big writer, and that's fine. But sometimes just putting a few thoughts on a piece of paper makes the world of difference, okay? So let's say, you know, you're ready to have this conversation. How do I start? For me, like I said, I always want to start with positivity and love. I'm not going to go straight in the conversation and say, I'm done with the friendship. No. I might say something like, I've appreciated who you've been to me on my journey. You can name a certain quality or experience that you guys share together. I've been deepening my relationship with myself, and I just don't feel that we're aligned enough to maintain this friendship. Simple and to the point. Now that's me. I like to be simple and to the point, because the more you say, in my experience, the more that person can pick apart what you're saying and or rapid fire questions back at you. Now, depending on the relationship, you might want to get into a deeper talk about it, and maybe you don't. In the situations that I talked about earlier, I didn't care to do that. It wasn't a deep enough relationship. There was no need. You know, it was literally just like, listen, you know, it was a trial and error thing, and in this case, it was an error. You know, but you know what? Let me redact that. It wasn't an error because I learned from it, and I gained confidence, and I gained direct communication skills. So it wasn't an error in that way, but I guess it was just an error that we weren't, you know, energetically aligned. I guess I could say that, you know? So say your piece, but say it how you want to say it. You know, you are in control of this conversation because you're the one that's bringing your feelings to the table. So if you don't want to get into it too deep, you can say that. You can say, you know, I don't care to get into this further. I'll always care about you and I wish you well, but I don't need to, you know, discuss this further. Some people are not going to like that, and it doesn't matter. You have to be okay with that. Not everyone is going to like what you have to say. We get so caught up in what other people are going to say and how they're going to perceive us that it takes away from what we are here for. I'm not here to make you comfortable, to please you. I'm here to make sure that this interaction is filled with love and honesty. And that's it. Okay? So, now what? It's like aftercare. You know, it's like sex. Does sex end with someone coming? No. Well, it shouldn't. Yeah, a lot of people, it does. But no, it shouldn't. Is the other person feeling pleasure? What's the aftercare after that? Are you cuddling? Are you taking a bath together? Are you talking about the sex? Same thing with this. There's aftercare after that. So what is it? You may feel sad. That's okay. Just because you were the one to end this relationship does not mean that you are not allowed to feel some type of way. You're a human being. You might even miss this person from time to time, even though you know it's not right for you anymore. So you might be sad for outgrowing this relationship. You know, you might be sad because the other person was sad and you hurt their feelings a little bit. Maybe they liked you more than you liked them. You know, there's so many different dynamics, and it's okay to feel how you feel. You know, I think sometimes we feel guilty, or we don't think that we're allowed to feel some type of way when we're the one that initiated it. That is not true. Your feelings are always valid. Always. Always. No matter if someone understands it, no matter what someone's reaction is to it, your feelings are always valid. What's important is how you express those feelings, okay? So allow yourself to process, and feed yourself grace through the grief if you feel like this was a little bit of a grieving process, okay? You're not a bad person. You're honest. Honor your feelings and listen to your emotional guidance system, which is, your intuition, and release what no longer serves you in order to open up room for the new. So it's just it's everything. It's everything to acknowledge how you feel, be in tune with self, and then release. Because when you take those 2 steps, you are giving the universe your cue. Bitch, I'm ready. I'm ready for new. I am ready for different. I am ready for evolved. When you hold on to things, how do you expect to bring in the new? And I'm going to use this same example when I do my food episode, but it's like a fridge. If I keep bringing new food in the fridge without clearing out all the old moldy shit in the back, what's going to happen? The fridge is going to be disgusting. It's going to smell gross. It's going to stay how it is. Nothing's going to change. But if I slowly start to get rid of the stuff from the back, and then I start to look at the stuff in the front and see if I like it, now I can go to the farmer's market and get some beautiful new fresh fruit. Now I can go bring in new recipes. And what is that going to do? Create new experiences. It's going to evolve you. It's going to thrust you forward in this human experience. And this is what that is. Acknowledgement, release, and then manifest whatever you desire. And that shit will happen. It will happen. Okay? So, at the end of the day, friendships are there to meaningfully connect, encourage, to support vulnerability. And in order to evolve, if the people in your life are not doing this, and if you're not doing it for them, because this is a 2-way street, then they really are an acquaintance that you do activities with. And you might as well just say that. I'm going to go to the beach with my acquaintance. You might as well just say that shit, because bitch, that's not a friend. You know it's not a friend. And you're not honoring yourself by not being honest. So don't call that person a friend if they're not. You feel me? So another last thing I really want to say is, sometimes we take things very personal. And once you realize that nothing is personal, literally nothing, you will have so much, it will feel so much easier to let go of things, because people can only meet you as deep as they've met themselves. Everything we do is a projection. This video right now is me projecting in a positive way though. I'm projecting my love for self, hopefully onto you, so that you take in my overflow of love and you feed that to yourself. Okay? But if someone says something to you, if someone does something to you, that has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with all the experiences that make them up. Okay? So, my cameraman is fucking up over there, but it's okay. But people can only meet you as deeply as they meet themselves, okay? So if you see that someone is moving through life in a certain way, and you choose to hang out with that person, engage with that person, and you know that that's not where you want to be, then why are you there? Okay? You need to first observe this person. You need to feel out this person. And that's something about me that I can say I love about myself, is I am a masterful observer, okay? I have evaded so many experiences in my life because I take the time to just observe. I don't need to talk in every situation. I don't need to put my 2 cents in. I can just feel out the room and know off the rip who I want to fuck with and who I don't. And the people that I know that I want to fuck with, am I going to dive deep in? No. But I'm going to take it slow, but I knew from the start how I felt. And vice versa. I knew from the start that person was not, I wasn't trying to invite into my experience. Okay? So observe before jumping into a friendship. Analyze that person. Analyze their friends. Analyze their friends, because what I just said is your friends are one of the biggest reflections of you. So if this person is acting like this around you, but then you see who their friends are, you're like, hold up, bro, wait a minute. You saying you like this and you kind of moving like that, but then how the hell are you hanging out with this person? You know what I'm saying? You have to see if that person is having some sort of mismatch in their life, because you don't want to take in that energy. You will take it in. Even if you think you're not in tune with energy and, oh no, it's cool, I don't care, they can do that on their own time. Don't be naive. Don't be naive. Energy is constantly flowing. Constantly. You need to protect it. You need to protect your energy. You need to protect that goodness and divine being that you are. So, the last thing is, all of this really has to do with our level of worthiness. You will choose friends or not choose friends based on how you feel about yourself. You will let shit slide based on how you feel about yourself. You will be direct with people based on how you feel about yourself. And now that I understand that, I see all around me the lack of love that people have for themselves. I see it in the way that they talk, in the foods that they choose to eat, in the way that they talk about themselves, about the way that they maneuver through life, by the friends that they choose, by that job that they chose to stay in. All of these are choices. And if you're choosing to stay in something that doesn't serve you, you are literally telling your spirit, I am not worthy of higher vibrational experiences. So is the universe going to give you that? Fuck no. You are co-creating with her and him. When you understand that you and the universe come together in this beautiful synergistic energy to co-create, you won't play with that shit anymore. That's serious. I don't play with the motherfucking universe. I love what she does for me. And I feed into her. I don't do anything other than that. Because I know what I deserve. Okay? So, this is all about honest reflection. About who you choose to hold in your heart. It's up to you to look at the parts of your life that fulfill you, that don't fulfill you, that feel like they're in limbo. It's your responsibility. No one is going to pour that love into you besides you. And I use that word love because a lot of times we say the word work. We have to do the work. It's not work. It's love. If you love yourself, you pour into yourself. This isn't a job. This is the love that I have for myself is gonna over motherfucking flow. And I want that shit to flow into everything. So if I'm not getting that reciprocity that I need, then I know I need to just leave it alone. Okay? So this is just, a real basic kind of intro on friendships and how to discern between what is feeding you, and what needs to be examined. Like I said, this is honest reflection and this is love. That's really what it is. People say it's all these other things. At the root, let's just get to the root. That's what it is, okay? So I encourage you to ask yourself those questions that I said before. Come up with your own questions. You know, talk about things with your friends. See how they respond. And take that as instructions for how you're going to move forward. You know, we all deserve beautiful friendships. Okay? It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter where you're at in life. You deserve to have people that you feel aligned with. And if you don't, like I said, pour that love into yourself and move on. So that concludes this episode. I appreciate everyone so much for joining me, for connecting with me, with sharing that love for self and for our collective community. I just, like I said, I feel just like an immense amount of gratitude for being able to fully express myself on this platform and to just, you know, give guidance, to just talk with you guys. Like, I'm not like, you know, my intention is not to sit here like a teacher. It's to just literally share my experiences, and if you choose to take it in or try something, then I hope it helps you. I hope it fulfills you. I hope, you know, it helps you grow within yourself. So have a wonderful week. You know, make sure you're cultivating that love with yourself, with your people, and I will see everyone next week.